So those of you that saw my previous video will know that I've recently bought Dark Future. Now it comes with 2 Renegade cars and 2 Interceptor cars and a couple of, well, 4 motorbikes. But I thought it would be quite good to buy some extra cars for it, and Hot Wheels and Matchbox cars are apparently the same scale. So I had a look round and I wanted a car that was a little bit different looking. I wanted one that looked kind of off-road. So I've come up with this, which is the Hot Wheels Octane. Cost me £1.50, it's quite cheap. So let's get it out of the box and have a look at it. So here it is. That's what it looks like from the front and from the sides and the back. You can see it's quite in scale with the Dark Future cars if I put them next to each other. So it should look quite good on the board. Now, first thing we've got to do is take the top off and repaint it. Now, to get the top off, you have to take off these rivets underneath, which we do with a drill. So let's give that a go. So to drill off their kind of rivet heads, I'm going to be using 2 drill bits. I've got a 2mm bit on the drill to make a little hole, and then a 4mm bit to try and get the head off. So let's give it a go. Just made a little hole in the first one. Just made a hole in the second one. Now we'll put on the 4mm bit. Let's see if we can get the heads to come off. Okay, that's got it after a bit of jiggling. So that's got it apart. So that's the chassis. As you can see, I had to make that hole a little bit bigger to get it over the head of the rivet. And you've got the inside, the driver's seat. And then the body. Now I'm going to try and get I want to get the windows out and put mesh in, because I think that looks a lot better and in keeping with the game. So I'll try and prise that out and I'll come back to you. So yeah, the window actually just unclips. So there you go. So once we get it up and running, we'll have some mesh in there and paint it all up. So the next stage is now to strip the paint off the body. Okay, so I've tried paint stripper and methylated spirit. Neither of those did anything, to be honest, even though I left it soaking in the methylated spirit overnight and it still didn't really do much to it. So next up is this stuff, Nitro Moors paint and varnish remover, because I think this has got a varnish on it that's stopping the paint stripper getting to the actual paint. So it's got like a protective layer of varnish or lacquer. Right, this is quite nasty stuff, so make sure you're wearing gloves and safety goggles and always read the labels. So what we're going to do, so we're basically just going to paint it on the car. It's like a green gloop, to be honest. And then we're going to leave it for about 10 minutes, I think, and see what happened. Okay, so it's been 10 minutes. Let's see if it's done anything. So you can see it has kind of blistered the paint a little bit. Let's give it a scrub with the toothbrush and see what happens. So yeah, it's definitely getting some of it off. I think we might need to put some more on and leave it a bit longer maybe. Okay, well that's giving it a really good thick coating, so let's leave that for about half an hour and see what happens. Okay, so it's been half an hour, let's see if any more paint will come off. Okay, so as you can see, it is coming off, but I think it needs longer in the nitro wars. So what I'm going to do is put it in a little pot, and then I'm going to pour some on it. Put the lid on, and we're going to let it soak. And we'll see what happens. Okay, so I left this soaking overnight for, it's been in there about 16 hours. So let's see what's happened to it. It looks like we might be in luck. Yeah, let's go and wash it and see what it looks like. Yeah, the paint's just literally falling off. Okay, so here it is after it's been in the nitro moors. Pretty much just washed the paint straight off. There's a tiny little bit left inside, but that doesn't really matter because I'm going to undercoat it anyway. My plan for it is that I'm going to fit a roof mounted machine gun right in the centre of the roof there. I don't know if you can see that. It's going to go on top there. So I'm going to drill a hole in the roof there, probably a 1mm hole, and then after I've painted it all up, paint the gun separately, and then that should be able to stick straight on there. Should look pretty good. So let's have a go at that. So yeah, I've just made a hole in the roof using this old Games Workshop manual twist drill. Didn't take very long. And then obviously I'm going to put the machine gun on the roof. So it'll end up with something like that. It should look pretty good. Okay, so the car's undercoated, and I've decided to paint it in a camo pattern that's inspired by German World War II tanks, like the one on screen at the moment. So I'm going to do a base coat of dark yellow, and then I'm going to use these two paints, which is NATO brown and NATO green. It's not the exact German camo colours, but it's close enough. And then if you remember, on the original model they painted the whole body was blue, whereas this bit here you can see is actually the kind of the engine. So I'm going to paint that in this Citadel lead belcher to show like the engine sticking out of the body, which I think will look pretty good. So let's get started. Okay, so that's the engine compartment base coated, and also the machine gun on top. And once that's dry, I'll be putting on the dark yellow base coat. Okay, so that's the base coat done. Now I'm going to apply the camo. I'm going to dab the camo pattern on with this old brush to make it look like it's sprayed on. So that's the green stripes applied. When that's dried, I'll put the brown ones on. Okay, so that's the camouflage pattern done. My next step is to ink these silver bits with this black wash, and that will run into all the recesses and add some kind of shading and also kind of dirty them up a bit. So let's give that a go. So you can see there it kind of flows into the gaps and adds some kind of natural shadows and dark patches. So there you go, that's the ink added. You can see it's added some kind of detail to the silver bits. So we'll let that dry and then we'll go on to the next step. Okay, that's that done. Next step is to add the mesh in the windows. Okay, so that's the wire mesh in the windows. You see I've just super glued it on the inside there. It looks quite new and shiny though, so I'm going to have to paint it and dull it down a bit. So there you go, that's taken some of the shine off of it. I think it's ready to be put together now. Okay, so there you go, so it's finished. So this is the car before, which does look pretty good. I quite like the paint job on it, looks really good actually. Just doesn't look kind of military enough to be in the kind of dark future universe. Although you could use it, my only thing would be just, if you are going to use normal Hot Wheels cars, is super glue the wheels, because there's nothing more annoying than when you put them on the track that they roll around. So this is the finished article. There is a bit more you could probably do to it if you're a better painter, weathering it, shading and highlighting, but for me this is the first one I've done, so I don't think it's come out too bad.